Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cody Cox Presents. This week, I have a multi-generational leader, as she's recognized by. Joining the show today in Cody Cox Presents, it's Miss Krishna Powell. Krishna Powell is the founder and CEO of HR4Your small biz, but she specializes in training multi-generations in the workforce, specifically focused on millennials and Gen Zers. Welcome to the show, Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so very much for having me on.
Oh, never a problem. Of course, and in all full disclosure, Krishna is a client of mine, by the way. And just finding out what she was about and what she was working on, it was definitely interesting to me, and I thought would be a great opportunity to share with those who follow Cody Cox Presents. So the thing that got me right off the bat was that, one, why do you find there's a need to have someone like you who specializes in training across generations? Why is that even a deal?
Well, the main reason why someone like myself is needed is because you have these young professionals graduating from high school and college, and they're not prepared for the challenges that they're going to face in the workplace. I mean, think about it. Right now in school, they don't even teach cursive handwriting anymore, let alone etiquette, protocol, and how to conduct yourself in the workplace. So they're coming into the workplace with this wonderful mind of knowledge and learning that they have received, but there's also a lack there, a shortcoming in regards to, again, how to conduct themselves in the workplace, how to handle challenges such as conflict, communication issues, and things of the like.
So you come into a company or a company brings you in, and so you're training the managers to deal with this new generation or vice versa?
I actually train both.
Okay.
So I train millennials on understanding, millennials and Gen Zers on understanding the older generation. In other words, don't discount us because we're older. Don't look at us like we're dinosaurs. Actually take the time to learn what we know. Listen, have some patience with us. And the same vice versa for the older generation. A lot of times they like to say, Krishna, millennials, Gen Zers, they're not loyal. They're selfish. They're the me generation.
Yeah.
So have conversations with them about that and go, okay, well, let's be honest about it. If they're not loyal, why? What have they seen or what have we done that have made them say, that's not going to happen to me? And what they've seen was someone such as myself with 20 years of HR experience going, thank you for 30 years of service, but here's 2 weeks of severance. You are no longer needed here. And they said, that's never going to happen to me.
But that's a common, I guess, cliche with millennials is that they're not loyal to any business right now. They're just kind of all over the place. But that's one of the reasons you find out why is that they don't want that send off after 30 years with the watch and a bonus.
Exactly. And the other thing is that they also did not see, like I saw with my father, you get the gold watch for doing 30 years. You get this recognition. That's not happening in the workplace anymore. So
Okay.
they're coming in, and they're not feeling valued and appreciated. No one is tapping into them. Matter of fact, sometimes they deal with people making negative comments such as, how dare you come in and tell me anything? You should be seen and not heard. And that's not this generation. They're the generation of the internet. So they are used to being heard, even if it's going to be on social media. So now you expect them to come into the workplace and just be quiet? That's not going to happen either.
But why now? Why all of a sudden? I mean, we obviously have the Gen Xers that have this different way of the Gen Zers and millennials who look at different ways of doing things. But is there a dichotomy now that makes it different than it has been in the past? I mean, you got new generations coming in every 10 years. So what makes it different now?
Well, now the difference is, number one, millennials are the largest workforce that we have. So they're even larger than baby boomers.
Okay.
But now you have baby boomers transitioning out. The economy is getting better. And so they're like, you know what, now I can take my retirement package and exit stage right. And so you have no other choice but to figure out how to develop these young professionals because they are your candidate pool. They are the ones that you have to select from in regards to getting them in the door and saying, you know what, let me groom you for being the next manager, the next leader. And some of them already are millennials. The oldest millennial right now is around the age of 34, 35.
Okay.
Some of them are in managerial roles and they're struggling because they, again, are balancing between, okay, I have a baby boomer I'm managing, and at the same time, I have a Gen Zer. And so they're doing this teeter-tottering, and they're like, Krishna, I need some help. I can't figure out this older generation. I get the younger generation coming in because they're like my little sister or brother. I'm going to take care of them. But this older generation, I'm not sure what to do. And so I come in and stand in that gap.
But in a workplace now, you have the baby boomers.
Mm-hmm.
Then who's after them?
Okay, so literally you can have 5 generations in the workplace.
Wow.
That's what makes it even more dynamic.
Okay.
So you have traditionalists. We also call them the silent generation. You have baby boomers. You have Gen Xers. You have millennials. And now you have this Gen Z, those 19, 20, 21-year-olds that have now entered the workplace.
So all of these generations spread all in one workplace for really the first time, I guess, the spread of a generation.
Exactly. So, I mean, think about it. You have 5 generations and you want them to hold hands and sing Kumbaya. That's not going to happen.
Right.
And they can all be in the same department, because I'll have what we call the traditionalist or silent generation. That's the one, again, they came from You're Seen, You're Not Heard. They come out of that silent movie era. And so they'll be 70 years old, 72, and they're like, I'm not retiring. I'm here in the workplace. My children are grown. I love what I do, and I'm going to stay here until I can't do it anymore. And then at the same time, they have a 19-year-old who's sitting across from them that is sometimes doing the same job.
I can imagine what that looks like.
Exactly. But it's more common than what you would expect right now.
Well, let's go back to that millennial manager that is now trying to manage folks who've been there for years, but also trying to manage this. They, to me, are they're in the crossfire because they're getting it from both sides.
Yes, they really are. So what I'd like to share with them is that the older generation, they don't want anything any different in regards to, they want to be heard. They want to be valued. They want to be appreciated for the knowledge that they bring into the workplace. They don't want to be discounted. So the first advice I always give a millennial manager is the fact that, have you taken the time to connect with that older professional sitting there? Yes, they're old enough to be your mother or your grandmother, but ask them, tell me what it is that you do. Show me what you think, how we can be more efficient. They just want, listen to me. Let me give you my knowledge and share information with you. And when they feel as though you're dismissive of them, it's not going to work so well. If they feel as though you're going to slam them with technology and not be patient with them and transition them into new technology you want to introduce them to, then you're going to bump your head up against some hard walls with them.
But that's got to be a huge challenge, because technology is moving so fast. Before you learn one software, there's a new one and updated, and so if that older generation is not even used to dealing with day-to-day electronic or day-to-day technology, how does that middle manager who's a millennial or a Gen Zer say, how do they encourage that? It's still such a fight in between there for them. But I would think technology would definitely be one of the biggest challenges.
Yes, technology definitely is. A lot of times what happens is, I tell young professionals or young millennial managers is, take your time with introducing the technology to them. When you're training them, give them only the technology that they need to have to do their job. Don't give them technology for the sake of giving them technology. That's not the generation to do it with. They need to know the benefit to their job, why they need to learn it. If you're going to say, well, we're going to use this now just because, it's something cool I saw and I know these young people, that's not going to work with them. It needs to be, this is the benefit to your job. This is how it makes your life easier. Let's give it a try. Let's see how it works for the team. If it doesn't work, we'll convert back to the older system, but be open to it. That's what you have to do with them.
So how does that same middle manager deal with now managing, like you said, his younger brothers and sisters?
Mhm.
They're a different breed too.
Exactly, exactly. Again, it's about tapping into the sweet spot for each. So everybody has their role, even when they're putting together widgets. Everybody has a widget that they're putting on. They have a role. So what you have to do when you're a millennial manager and you're managing professionals younger than yourself is allow them to have opportunity to use new technology at the speed that they want to use it at, but help them to understand that, you know what, remember the rest of the team is using this software, this technology here. So instead of you talking about it in a negative way, be open with your counterparts and patient with them as they use that technology, but at the same time encourage them. Hey, if you want to try this software, if you want to try this new technology, let's give it a go. Let's see what happens. So again, tapping into that sweet spot. Also asking them, how can this benefit our job? Because you're saying that, oh, this is the latest and greatest, but is it really applicable to the industry that we're in, to the work that we're doing? Because what works in nursing may not work necessarily in the project management organization or may not work in the financial services organization. Or is there some security and software issues and things like that? Does it talk across systems? So you can even give them that homework. They get excited about stuff like that. You know, that you're giving them that new project to work on and things like that. And then you have the older generation on the other side looking and going, good, I'm glad they didn't ask me because I don't want to have nothing.
Right, right,
I just want to sit here and do my job that I know how to do. And
right.
that's it. So again, it's about tapping into the sweet spots of each, because you have the older professionals who are able to keep the ball going and things of that nature. And then you have the new professionals who are able to be creative and innovative and devise ways and strategies to take the business into the future and make sure you're there for the next 20, 30, 100 years.
So with one of the things you said, education is not the same as what we grew up on. Like you said, they're not teaching cursive writing and they're not, things are a bit different. It actually makes some people afraid of what's going on with the future. When you have this different structure of education coming into a workforce, how do I take that into my business and think I'm going to be able to rely on these young people coming in to take us to the future when we didn't all learn the same ABCs. So how does that work? What is the outlook for the future?
So the outlook for the future is, again, they are creative, they're innovative, they have brilliant, brilliant minds. They learn at a lightning pace. So you have that's there. And because of that, you're able to do things that you, as an older professional, probably never even imagined in your workplace. They really have a global perspective. When
Yeah,
you look at Gen Zers are what we call the first true internet generation, because they don't know what life was like before Facebook. They
true.
don't have a clue. Gen Xers such as myself, oh, we know what life was before Facebook and everything else. But this generation doesn't. They have friends and counterparts and knowledge that they're sharing with people from all across the world. So they're a sponge for information, as well as being able to say, hey, here was what's going on over here. Um, but for leaders, what I always share with them is the fact that you have to be prepared to develop them. Young professionals need development. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And a lot of times leaders will say, well, Krishna, when I came into the workplace, there was no one to train me and it was a struggle, but I made it. And yeah, it was awful, but here is where I am today. And so what I like to share with them was, if it wasn't right then, what makes it right now?
Right, right.
Why are we repeating those same mistakes that we know people made with us? So we need to take a step back and know that, you know what, based on the studies, based on what's taking place in education, there will be some shortcomings in communication. Because when you look at Gen Zers, when you look at millennials, they are here with their technology. They're using their phones, they're using their tablet. They have not necessarily learned how to look up and engage in a conversation. That's why they struggle sometimes with handling conflict, because all the conflict now is, I'm going to say some words, I control you on social media, and I never have to look at you in your face and be even held accountable for the things that I'm saying. And so you have to know when they come into the workplace, there are going to be some shortcomings. And that's why someone such as myself, we are needed in order to help you understand, how do you handle those communication challenges? How do you resolve those conflicts? I spend time really developing those young professionals through my programs. I have one called Millennials Making Moves, and I teach them through 5 key steps what they need to do to be successful in the workplace. And it's, again, communication, conflict resolution, talking about delegation and showing respect in the workplace. What does that look like to an older generation?
Perfect place to begin to wrap this up. So I have a business, or there's a corporation that wants to get you. How do they reach you? How do they bring you in to at least do an opening seminar, share these conversations with their staff?
They can reach me on my website, KrishnaPowell.com, KrishnaPowell.com.
Got it. Thank you so much for joining me, Krishna. Again, it's Krishna Powell with HR4Your Small Biz. She is the multi-generational leader. Go check her out on the website, KrishnaPowell.com. See you next time. Appreciate you all.
Thank you.